Hi friends, this is Devang here and welcome to another interesting episode of Costology. This is my series where we discuss interesting terms in the subject of costing. Now my term for today is a beautiful term, a beautiful concept called as theory of constraints. Now the word constraint basically means a bottleneck. A month before, I'd also given you the video regarding what is a bottleneck. Yes, we covered the term bottleneck in this same series of Costology. So you can refer to that bottleneck video, 10 minutes video, to understand what exactly is bottleneck. Well, from that concept of bottleneck comes up this wonderful concept of theory of constraints. What is this about? Well, theory of constraints is about cost management when faced with a bottleneck. Now that you know what is bottleneck, so we need to manage the cost when we are faced with bottleneck. Now what exactly does cost management here refer to? When it says cost management means what? Well, it involves three measures. It involves three measures. One is throughput. One is called throughput. Throughput is basically a type of contribution. Throughput is simply a kind of contribution. But normally contribution is sales minus all items of variable cost. However, here under this topic, my throughput is sales minus only the material cost. Because under this concept of theory of constraints, labor and all other overheads are assumed to be fixed cost. And it is quite logical. You remember that whenever we considered labor as a variable cost, what is the reason that labor is considered variable? Do I actually pay the wages based on units produced by them? No, wages are always paid on say hourly basis or monthly wages or daily wages. Then if the wages are not paid based on units, then why is labor considered as variable? Well, labor was considered variable because it is assumed that number of workers can be removed when I don't have production, and more number of workers can be hired when I have more production. Yes, so depending on my production units, I can hire more workers or I can remove workers. That is the reason why labor was considered variable. But in reality it is not so easy to remove workers. It is also not so easy to recruit more workers in my company. So because of that real life difficulties, this concept believes that labor must be considered like a fixed cost. So labor and all other overheads are also considered fixed cost. We consider only material as the variable cost. Basically this kind of shows that I get material and I convert it into finished goods and sell the finished goods. The money that I paid to obtain material and the money that I receive when I sell the finished goods, difference is the money that I earned. Yes, it is like the cost of input and the value of output. The value of output is what I earn. The cost of input is what I pay. The difference is my net profit here. The difference is my earning here. Yes, so I am earning this contribution, which is sales minus only material cost. This contribution is named as throughput here. That is one. Second concept involved here is investment. Now, in order to earn this throughput, I must have used some machines. I must have invested in purchasing machines or in the factory. All this investment, money invested, becomes my investment, assets used. And third factor here, operating expenses. Operating expenses are all other expenses like labor and overheads. So you notice that in my contribution calculation, I considered only material. The cost which I left out over here is now taken under operating expense. Yes, so operating expense are the labor and overheads which are all considered as fixed cost. The purpose of this topic of theory of constraints is what? Purpose is to do cost management when we are faced with bottleneck. Now cost management here involves what? Well, the term cost management here involves these three measures. The word cost management here involves that throughput I want to increase. The cost management also means that investment amount I want to minimize, And cost management also involves that operating expense I want to decrease. This is the purpose of theory of constraints. Yes, so my purpose in a theory of constraints is that I want to increase the throughput with the minimum amount of investment while also decreasing the operating expenses. Yes, now to do that, you need to learn how to make best possible use of the bottleneck. How to make the best possible use of the bottleneck. However, making best possible use of the bottleneck you have already learned in our chapter of decision making. Remember decision making, we had concepts like key factor decisions, product mix decisions. Yes, what we did in that key factor questions, product mix questions is actually the steps involved in theory of constraints. It's the same thing. Yeah, the key factor decisions, product mix decisions. Look at the steps. You identify the bottleneck. Bottleneck is the constraint. Calculate throughput per bottleneck minute. Now this is important. You identify bottleneck, you calculate throughput per bottleneck minute. It's like contribution per hour. Remember in key factor questions we used to calculate contribution per hour. Same way here you identify contribution per minute, throughput per minute. It indicates that in 1 minute how much throughput did I earn. In 1 minute how much throughput do I earn in product A, product B, product C and so on. Accordingly, you do ranking of the products, and once the ranking is done, the remaining process remains same as what we did in key factor questions. You have the ranking of the products, you do allotment of the key factor, you do allotment of the bottleneck time as per the ranking, and according to that ranking, you get the decision that how many units of which product should I make. So you notice that the steps involved in a theory of constraints are exactly same as the steps in your key factor questions. However, the new thing here is how to identify the bottleneck. Look, steps involved are pretty much the same, only the names are different. Instead of naming contribution per hour, we now name this as throughput per bottleneck minute. So only the names are different, but the steps involved are absolutely the same. But the important part here is how to identify the bottleneck. Well, what exactly is bottleneck? Bottleneck is that resource which restricts the production of my company. I'd given you detailed explanation about what is bottleneck and even how to identify bottleneck. I had shown you that in my costology video. We had another costology video a couple of months back regarding specifically bottleneck. But under this topic, I have a little different method here involved, little different method because this time the questions will have more than one products are given. The costology video regarding bottleneck which I gave you was the basics where it was a company having only one product. But here if my company is having more than one products, then how to identify bottleneck? Well, the method is little different. Notice the method, the steps involved here. Step 1, you calculate total hours required to fulfill entire demand. I have multiple products A, B, C, D, E, F, G, whatever. You calculate the total hours of each machine that are required to satisfy the complete demand of all my products. Step 2, you calculate the hours available, that is capacity available of each machine. And then step 3, make a ratio. Calculate the capacity utilization percentage, that is hours required divided by hours available. Simple example, say I have machine 1, machine 2. Machine 1 hours required to fulfill entire demand of all my products is, say for example, 1200. But the hours available in machine 1 is only 1000. So the capacity percentage turns out to be 120%. Yes, so if 120% is the capacity utilization, it shows that any percentage above 100% indicates that there will be shortage. This shows that I need 1200 hours of M1, but available are only 1000 hours of M1. So I need to utilize 120% of the available hours. I cannot utilize 120% of the available hours. This shows that 20% is the shortage of available hours in machine 1. Same way, say machine 2. Maybe the machine 2 hours required is, maybe the hours required in machine 2 is say 700, but the hours available of machine 2 is only 500. If the hours available in machine 2 is only 500, hours required is 700. So now if you convert this into percentage, it turns out to be 140%. So my utilization of machine 2 will become 140% of the hours available. Now any percentage above 100% indicates a shortage. So you notice that which machine is facing more shortage. You have 20% capacity shortage in machine 1, but in machine 2 you are facing 40% capacity shortage. The machine which has more shortage becomes your bottleneck. Machine 2 is having more shortage in terms of percentage, so machine 2 becomes my bottleneck. Bottleneck is the resource where this percentage is highest. You understand this procedure? This is the process to identify bottleneck when there are more than one products given. Now that you know machine 2 is the bottleneck, so now you believe that machine 2 available hours, this 500 available hours of machine 2 is your key factor. Taking this machine 2 as the bottleneck, now you can follow the steps that we discussed over here. Done. This is precisely your theory of constraints, and trust me, this steps over here are the only new discussion under theory of constraints. Rest all the procedures involved here are exactly same as key factor decisions which we did in the chapter of decision making. Yeah, that's all with my episode of Costology. I hope this short video makes a good sense to you and will be very helpful for you during the exams. Yes, these short videos will cover many concepts. Every month I'll come up with these videos to cover up various places of CA final costing concepts. Yeah, these are purely concept focused videos. That's all. See you in the next video. Bye bye. Thank you very much.